Good evening and welcome to the first of three meetings tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. And at this time, we will convene our Board of Sanitation meeting for Monday, May the 6th, 2019. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my far right.
Dave Harrison.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. You have been presented a printed copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, April 15th, 2019. Floor is open for any questions or comments or corrections.
I have none.
I have none.
No corrections, comments, or I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. This evening, Board, we have 3 pages of wastewater claims in the amount of $75,180.56. Floor is open for questions or comments.
I have none, thank
I
you.
have none.
No questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve the wastewater claims dated May the 6th, 2019, in the amount of $75,180.56.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. We have no unfinished business to carry over from the previous meeting. We have no new business tonight. Comments from board members?
I have none.
I have none.
No comments. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make said motion.
Second.
The meeting is adjourned at 6:02 p.m. We will convene the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting within 5 minutes. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the second of 3 meetings tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. And at this time, we will convene our Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for Monday, May the 6th, 2019. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my far right.
Dave Harrison.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. You have been presented a printed copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, April 15th, 2019. Floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections.
I have none.
I have none.
No questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. This evening, Board, we have 32 pages of corporate claims in the amount of $1,485,720.83. The floor is open for any questions or comments.
I have a question, please. On page 28, about 3/4 the way down, City of Beech Grove, it's the city court transfers for $14,000. Where does that actually transfer from?
It's transferred, it looks like, from the city court to the, I don't know. Be quite honest with you, I would have to check on that to make sure. I'm just not sure what it's for. I guess payments.
Right, so court costs.
Oh, okay.
Some distributions are made to the particular cities. I think it goes through our court, then we take the court costs and we distribute it out.
Right. And I know we do the same thing with payments to other cities like Southport or
Right.
Homecroft or whoever. But that, like Craig said, I believe that's what it
I'll give
is
you an
also.
example. Like, if somebody goes and pays a traffic ticket, they'll come to our the police department, or they'll pay online. And then what we do is we take up the court cost, and then the remainder of the fine goes to the city.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. And one other question, please. On page 31, 3/4 the way down, custom signals for $37,000.
I would say, Mark, isn't that for the police cars, customs?
Okay, thank you. Those are my only questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
No other questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve the corporate claims dated May the 6th, 2019 in the amount of $1,485,720 $720.83.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you. Under unfinished business, carried over from the previous meeting, we have one item tonight, and that is a quote opening, Phase 1 and Phase 2 stormwater. And at this time, I will ask our board member, Sandy Seward, to open any bids received.
Phase A. Mayor, phase 1.
Yeah.
This bid submitted is from JKES Incorporated, doing business as Smith Projects. This is Phase 1A. And the amount is $89,570. Okay. And the other is the Phase 1B. And the bidder is JKES Incorporated, doing business as Smith Projects. Again, this is 1B. And the quote amount is $107,500. $107,516. $107,516.
Okay.
And those were the only two bids.
Okay, Casey, can you approach? Yes, please.
You're welcome.
And Casey will take, they'll go back and review them and then give us a recommendation within the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Dennis, do
Yeah.
you know what the difference is between Phase 1A and Phase 1B?
I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds a little higher, but I don't know.
No, I mean, what the different project is, if,
Yeah, I can answer.
okay,
We split it between the cul-de-sac, I think it was Woodmont, and the McFarland ditch. Those are the two separate projects.
the McFarland is the B?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Oh, thank you.
That concludes unfinished business carried over from the previous meeting. Under new business tonight, we have 4 items. The first item is 2019 paving bid opening. So at this time, I'll defer to Sandy Seward to open the bids and read them aloud.
Looks like there's a total of 4. And the first one is from Globe Asphalt Paving Company. And the total bid amount is $660,000. Sorry, I did that again. $660,599.87. $660,599.87.
.87, okay?
And again, that was from Globe. The The second one is from Grady Brothers. And this bid amount is for $764,026.90. Great. And this bid is from Robertson Paving. And this bid amount is for $621,662. That was Robertson. And the last bid is JKES Incorporated, doing business as Smith Projects. Just a second. And this bid amount is for $574,416.60. And that is all of the bids.
All right, Brian, could you approach? Do you have any comments or anything? And
I can tell you for a general ballpark, the engineer's estimate was in the range of $714,000, so these prices are generally in line with what we were expecting to see. Probably should also note that this project was part of our community crossing grant, meaning the city was awarded up to $333,500 from the state. It's usually a 50-50 match depending on what the actual bids come in at. So 50% of this construction cost is being paid by the state in this case.
Okay. Could you approach and grab the bids and review them and give us a recommendation at the May 20th meeting?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and thanks to everyone who placed a bid. Next order of new business is request to hire full-time DPW. Brad?
Good evening, Board. It's a recommendation to hire Philip Lamping. Dear Board, it is my recommendation to the Board of Works that the city hire Philip Lamping as a full-time employee at the Department of Public Works. Mr. Lamping is a graduate of Franklin College and Beech Grove High School. Mr. Lamping will be filling the full-time position vacated by Jamie Lockwood when he was promoted to Street Commissioner on April 1st, 2019. The position will be classified as probationary laborer, first year, with a biweekly salary of $1,412.96. Mr. Lamping will serve a one-year probationary period and is expected to obtain his Class B CDL during that time. If approved, Mr. Lamping will be considered full-time starting Tuesday, May 7th, 2019. Respectfully submitted, myself.
Floor is open for any questions or comments.
And this is budgeted, right?
Say again, sorry.
Budgeted.
Yeah, so, and I'll mention this because Dan and I have discussed this. We owed John Biggs for vacation and sick time and different things. I was actually way under on my part-time salaries for a variety of reasons. I've had a few issues with some part-time people, and currently right now only have one employed, and I've budgeted for 3. So I had enough in part-time to pay out John what we owed him, which freed up basically his spot in my MVH budget. So I wanted to go ahead and fill that as soon as possible.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Dave, anything?
No.
I wanted to disclose, and I talked to Craig about it. Philip's mom is City Councilor Elizabeth Lamping, and I just wanted to disclose that publicly and defer to the city attorney for any comment.
Yeah, not in direct line of supervision, so it's not a nepotism statute issue.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I have none.
I have none.
If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the director's request to hire Philip Lamping.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Request to hire part-time DPW. Brad?
I'm going to request to table this at this time. There's been some complications with this particular person, so for right now, I think I'm going to put this one on the shelf.
Okay.
I will fill the spot, just might be with someone else.
All right. Motion to table.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and bring it back up when you're ready.
Will do. Thank you.
Last order of business is request to surplus furniture, Senior Citizen Center.
Dear Board, we would like to add 2 green office chairs and 2 rugs, floor mats to surplus due to the fact the items are old, stained, and worn down. Thank you, Stephanie Bramlett.
Motion to surplus, approve the surplus request from Senior Director.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. That concludes new business. Comments from board members?
I have
I
none.
have none.
No comments, motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
The meeting is adjourned at 6:19 PM. We will convene our city council meeting tonight at 7 PM. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the third and final meeting this evening. My name is Dennis Bunkley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our city council meeting for Monday, May the 6th, 2019. In lieu of a roll call, I'll ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
Buddy Templin, Councilman at Large.
Jim Brooks, Council at Large.
Dave Harrison, Councilman, District 5.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Elizabeth Lamping, District 1.
Chris Duffer, District 3.
Kevin Day, District 4.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Thank you. We have 4 special presentations this evening. The first is the recognition of the Beech Grove High School boys basketball team. So if they could come forward along with their coach.
I go, sure, you got
Take your center.
Come on back. Guys, you can stay up there if you want to. Mike, come on back here. It's no secret that these folks had a stellar year, sectional champions. We had a couple of all-county nominees and were awarded all-county. I think over the weekend they won the best, what was it, the best team? Yes. In Marion County, and the coach in Marion County. So this year keeps on going, all good. So tonight the city wants to recognize the boys basketball team. Congratulations, Beech Grove boys basketball, to 2019 sectional champions. And coach, this is from the city of Beech Grove. Well done. Congratulations. Come on, talk to these guys.
Well, we're a couple players short tonight, literally with my 2 sons right here. This is my youngest right here, Mylan, and my other bodyguard right there, Mikey. But going down the list right here, I tell you the the season this past year was a little rough at the very beginning, us losing our mentor and our coach, Matt English. And what these kids did was phenomenal, pulling together and taking the city on a nice ride, the school, the whole community. It was just absolute compliment to them. They band together. I think we strung together about 9 wins in a row, won a sectional championship for the first time in 11 years, won the regional morning game, got to the regional finals for the first time in 60-plus years. And we got, I know 3 of the kids, probably 4 that are going to go on to play college basketball as well. So that's a real tribute to these young men right here for sure. So. Yes, sir. And next to my son right there, that's one of our seniors right there. His name's Jordan Brickley, Isaac Stennett, Vin Pick, John Parker, Griffin Wade, Josh Copenhaver, Jaden Curry, and one of our last seniors right there. He was third team All-County this past year. He's going to Hanover College right there, Gavin Hess. And I did fail to mention that Jordan Brickley, he will play college basketball as well at Manchester College. John Parker, right there in the middle, he will be going to Greenville University in Illinois. Absolute great young men, and we're very excited and happy to receive this award. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mayor.
Before we sit back down, the last sectional champion that we had in basketball was at Shelbyville High School, and your coach, Mike, was a player. But I remember in 1966, when Beech Grove won the Southport sectional, they beat Southport, and then the next week they played in the Hinkle Regional, and they played Howe, and then they beat Howe. Howe was the #1 team in the state. Beech Grove beat them twice that year. And they had a guy named Mike Nolan, one of the best basketball players I've ever seen.
Went to IU.
Yeah. And they got beat by Tech High School in the regional final. But it was a great run. And before you sit back down, your best supporter by far on the council was Dave Harrison. I don't know if he missed. Did you miss?
I missed a couple.
What do you?
I went to Newcastle and seen that from way up in the rafters.
Give him a 10,000-foot perspective of this year.
Good season. Started off, like he said, kind of rough. A couple of them started coming around. One of them was Mr. Brickley. And I'll tell you something. The kid hit more three-point shots the last 5, 6, 7 games than I seen him hit in 3 years. But man, he played good. Parker played good. Hess, of course, is something else. You guys could have put kids off the JV on the team and played good. And that's something else, the JV. I can't wait to see them next year. But it's one of the – but I'll tell you guys a quick story and bore everybody to death, and Mr. Renfro doesn't even know this. When I was getting out of Little League, I took a Little League team 14-15 to the state finals. We win that, we go to the World Series. And those kids, if you go to high school, you'll see, and I think it was 87, they went to the semi-state, the same kids. And so this was in like 84, 85, I had them. Well, as I'm getting out of Little League, my boy played till he's 18. I'm out of the little kids. Buddy's in there, going to be president. And I keep hearing Ron Eck talking about, well, we got a kid named Renfro. And I'm like, Renfro? Yeah, he's the best pitcher I've ever seen. He's good at this, good at that. Well, I get up to high school, I see he wasn't even not only good in baseball, you're pretty good in basketball and football. And but that's all I heard about for like 5 years was this kid named Renfro. Never did see you play, but then when I get to the high school, I seen you were a pretty good player.
And I had to hear the stories from Lowell Baker, who I believe is hiding back there somewhere, so.
I've never seen a team play with so much heart. You guys are great.
And I said it before, the best game I seen, you guys, well, maybe not the best. Man, that Southport game was awesome. If you see me walk, I'm not real good on stairs, but I was upstairs at high school at Southport. I'm coming down them stairs, I'm thinking this game's over. My wife drove the bus that night. She said, I'm going out to the bus. I said, well, they could tie it here. Well, they tied it. So I'm like, okay, 5 minutes. I'll walk back up so I can see the game. We're losing. I'm saying, well, this game's over. I start walking down darn steps.
fair weather fan.
Yeah. Somebody hits a shot and they tie it up, go back up. And I think this was a second or third. Who hit it? Was it third overtime that Parker hit a 50-footer? So I'm walking down. This game's really over now. They're down 3 points, 3 seconds to go. Parker takes it across the half-court line, shoots it. It was nothing but net. I walk back up them darn steps, sit there. We're down like 6 points, I think. I'm thinking, well, less than a minute to go, this game's over. I walk back down them steps. I thought, I ain't walking all the way down this time, so I get halfway down. And we come back, and I think it was Gavin, that somebody made some free throws in there. I've lost track. Gavin made a shot. I mean, it was unbelievable. They come back and won the game. It was the best game I think I've ever seen. It was phenomenal. You had to be there. I mean, 4 overtimes.
Wow.
But I the good team, best team in a long time I've seen at Beech Grove. And
Congratulations,
guys. Did you guys not set a record for the most wins in 3 years or something?
As a span, yeah, it's a winning record, I know, I think, for the last 4 years is
Yeah,
quite a while.
yeah. So, good bunch of kids.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Anyone in the audience from the childhood apraxia? Come on up. I want to read this proclamation into the record for you, okay, and then hand it to you. Council today, our proclamation naming May the 14th, 2019 as Childhood Apraxia Speech Awareness Day. Whereas May the 14th, 2019 marks the first annual Childhood Apraxia Speech Day, during which awareness will be raised throughout Beech Grove about childhood apraxia of speech, an extremely challenging speech disorder in children. Whereas childhood apraxia of speech causes children to have significant difficulty learning to speak and is among the most severe deficits in children. Whereas the act of learning to speak comes effortlessly to most children, those with apraxia endure an incredible and lengthy struggle. Whereas without appropriate speech therapy intervention, children with apraxia are placed at a high risk for secondary impacts in reading, writing, spelling, and other school-related skills. Whereas such primary and secondary impacts diminish future independence and employment opportunities if not resolved or improved. Whereas most children with apraxia of speech will learn to communicate with their very own voices only if they receive early intervention, appropriate, intensive, and frequent speech therapy. Whereas it is imperative that there be greater public awareness about childhood apraxia of speech in Beech Grove among community members, physicians, education professionals, policymakers, and elected officials. Whereas funds such as insurance providers, schools, and policymakers are encouraged to recognize the critical need to provide adequate speech therapy and other services so that the impact of this disorder is minimized and so that thousands of affected children can grow into productive, contributing adult citizens. Whereas our highest respect goes to those children as well as their families for their effort, determination, and resilience in the face of such obstacles. Now therefore let it be resolved that May the 14th, 2019 is Apraxia Awareness Day, and citizens of Beech Grove are encouraged to work with their community to increase awareness and understanding of childhood apraxia of speech. The mother who called the office asked to do this proclamation has a 4-year-old? Yeah, my 4-year-old son, and she's standing right here to the left of me, and I want her to come up and very briefly talk about what is apraxia and how does it affect kids. So, welcome. I want to give this to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Childhood apraxia of speech is a neurological disorder that basically affects speech. Most kids are suspected to have a speech delay, and then later you find out it's a disorder. My 4-year-old son, Foster, has it. Basically, his brain can't get the right signals to his mouth to move his mouth correctly to get words out. It takes years and years of speech therapy. I had not heard of apraxia until dealing with a child with a speech disorder, and I wish that I had, and just want to bring awareness to it. And if you have a child with a speech delay, to maybe look into it. But he goes to Hornet Park Elementary and is in their developmental preschool class, and he has gone from nonverbal to now we can have conversations within the last year. He's very hard to understand, but he works hard every day. He goes to therapy a lot just to learn to talk. He will always have apraxia, even as an adult, but hopefully he will get a lot better at speaking and won't be so hard to understand. So I just wanted to bring awareness to it and have it officially proclaimed in our city. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
reaching
very
out.
much.
All right. Next presentation is a proclamation for National Police Week 2019. Chief? Proclamation for National Police Week 2019, to recognize National Police Week 2019 and to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officials killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated officers of the city of Beech Grove. Whereas nearly 60,000 assaults against police officers are reported each year, resulting in approximately 16,000 injuries. Whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, almost 20,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty, including Richard Ferguson, Tom Kleiss, and William Toney, who were members of the Beech Grove Police Department. Whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 26th annual candlelight vigil on the evening of May 13, 2019. Whereas the candlelight vigil is part of National Police Week, which takes place this year on May the 12th to May the 18th. Whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Dennis B. Bunkley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, formally designate May the 12th to May the 18th as Police Week in the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. In witness whereof, I have herein set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Beech Grove to be affixed this 6th day of May, 2019. Chief, I'll present this to you on behalf of the Police Department.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the mayor and the city for doing this for us. During the police week, we will be sending 5 officers to the memorial service in Washington, D.C. to honor our 3 officers plus all the other officers that are on the wall, or the walls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
The last proclamation this evening is EMS Week proclamation. Chief? Declaring May the 19th through the 25th, 2019 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas Emergency Medical Services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of Emergency Medical Services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas Emergency Medical Services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, I, Dennis B. Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May the 19th to the 25th, 2019 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme EMS Strong. Beyond the call, I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Chief?
Mayor and council, just want to thank you for your continued support of the Beech Grove Fire Department. And as always, not only during EMS week, but anytime, you're more than welcome. Come out to the stations, visit the personnel, see your equipment that we utilize to service the community. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief, both chiefs. I'm going to skip a couple things and get the school principal up for the youth council report. Liz?
Good evening. Happy May, obviously. We've got 2 weeks and then final exams, so it is the season to celebrate. It's scholarship season for our seniors, and we are very thankful for the community and the alumni support of our seniors' dreams for life after high school. We'll honor them at our academic awards night on Wednesday, May 22nd at 7. Obviously, we shared a few accolades from our boys basketball program, and Garrett's going to come up momentarily to share a little bit more about sports. But just a few other things to celebrate. The ICC art competition happened last week, and I'm happy to report that Beech Grove took first this year. So congratulations to all of those students who had pieces in that. And we will celebrate our district art show next Tuesday. I believe that starts around 3:30 or 4, but it's open well into the evening at the Hornet Park Community Center. We congratulated our Spanish 4 and 5 students and the Sociedad Honoraria Hispanica. They compete against 300,000 students across the country, and 21 of our students who took that test placed at the national level, so we congratulate them. Our Riley Dance Marathon team and our student leadership team celebrated their achievement this year. They raised over $13,000 in their efforts throughout the year, so we definitely congratulate them. Just a few other dates to share coming up. I shared the academic awards night is the 22nd. That's at 7. Baccalaureate, we will also celebrate at 7 p.m. on May 31st. And then we have commencement on June 1st at 10 a.m. Thanks so much. And I'll introduce Garrett for some sports updates. Thank you.
It's been a busy past couple months for sports. So I'll try to be quick, but I got a little bit to talk about. So first off, these 2 awards right here, the Indy Star Sports Awards was last night. So I attended with Mike and the boys basketball team and other coaches and parents that went along. It was actually a really special event. We didn't quite know anything about it going into it. When we got there, I mean, we all dressed up in suits and shirts and ties, and as was everyone else. So it was a very fancy event. I mean, it felt like we were actually at like the ESPYs or some other fancy award show. So they had the red carpet out. They had photographers everywhere. Wow. And then we came away with some hardware, and these things are pretty nice. So we were pretty excited about that. Our boys team was the Colts fan vote for top team, and then Coach Renfro won Coach of the Year. So those are some really honorable things that we did there, and it's a really great experience for our kids and the team. Switching gears to spring sports, I want to talk about our ICC track meet was this past Friday, and we had a couple broken school records. First off, our boys team placed second out of 8 teams, and our girls team placed third. Josh Fryer He's a junior. He was first in shot put and discus, and he broke his own shot put record. He's broken, I think, 3 times now this year. Romia Eccles, she broke the ICC conference and the school record for 200-meter dash. And Romia, and then there's Romeo, her brother, broke the 200-meter dash school record, which is 64 years old. So that was pretty cool. The track team will be competing in the Marion County tournament the next 2 days. I think girls are tomorrow and boys are on Wednesday. Our baseball team finally got some good weather. It's sunny out. We have a game going on right now over at the park. I've had a tough start to the season, not really being able to get to a flow with all the weather and the cancellations and rescheduling. But this week we're at it full force. We have 3 conference games, Triton Central, Lutheran, and Cecina. And then the JV team gets their turn later in the week. Softball, Lady Hornets got a chance to travel. I don't think I've been here since they did it. They get a chance to travel to Tennessee for a tournament. So that was a fun experience for them to go out of state and play in a tournament with teams all across the country. Last week they played Heritage Christian. They defeated them 8-5. T. O'Connor, who's a sophomore, smacked a home run off the scoreboard. And they're back in action tomorrow night at Beech Grove for their annual Coaches vs. Cancer game, and it's versus Lutheran. Our girls' tennis team was in competition tonight at Ben Davis for Marion County, and their senior night is on Thursday versus Mooresville. Boys golf placed 6 out of 16 for Marion County. We have a pretty balanced team as far as seniors down to freshmen, and they've been doing really well this year. We hosted the Marion County Senior All-Star Game at Beech Grove High School 2 weeks ago. 2 of our own players up here, Gavin Hess and John Parker, participated in it, which is a big deal. Marion County is definitely known for basketball, and just a chance to have 2 of our own players playing in it with the great athletes and talent that's in there. They did a really good job, and all the donations collected that evening went towards the Matt English Foundation and Addison English's College Fund, per the Marion County Coaches Association. And then last but not least, this Thursday, we have physical night at the high school. So May 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. Anybody from elementary on up to high school can come and get their physical, and then it'll be good for a whole year. As part of it's $20, which is relatively cheap compared to going to a doctor. And it's a pretty, we've got it down to a process. We'll get you in and out as quick as possible. I said, we'll talk one thing about scholarships. We have 3 athletes, I'm sorry. First off, Emily Leak, who's been here before to present. She actually won a very prestigious IHSAA scholarship. It's called the Cato Scholarship, and there's only 13 seniors in the entire state who won this scholarship. She'll be going this Friday to an awards banquet to receive her scholarship. Brianna Small, who's a volleyball player, was invited to this is a mouthful, Marion County Coaches of Girls Sports Association. It was a banquet. She got nominated by me, and then she was picked as a finalist out of 9 total finalists. She didn't win the scholarship, but she still received a plaque and some specialized sneakers. She was at Primo's Banquet Hall last Wednesday. And then last but not least, 2 of our other, Emily Leak and Gavin Hess, are going to the Tamika Catchings Scholarship Dinner. They have a chance. I think they're giving out over $68,000 in scholarships to all athletes across the state. So some good things going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Garrett, I think the boys' baseball team got a pretty good draw.
Yes, sectional calls past Sunday. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Dennis,
Yeah.
for Liz, this year at the Relay for Life on Saturday is going to recognize heroes, and we believe that teachers and coaches are heroes, and I'd like to give you the information so we can have some teachers and coaches there at the Relay.
Absolutely, I agree with that, heroes. Anything else for us? Thanks, have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Council, you have been presented a printed copy of the minutes of the April 1st, 2019 meeting. Floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections. If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. Council, you also have in your packet a printed copy of the minutes of our last meeting dated April 15th, 2019. Floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections. No questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. Next up, public comments, and before I turn it over to our city attorney, if you signed up the sheet back there, but you want to testify in the zoning hearing, we'll ask for that when the zoning hearing comes up. Public comment will be for anything other than the zoning matter. So I'll defer to the city attorney.
Sure. Mr. Grenoble?
Mother Nature and its pollen seems to be kicking my today, so I apologize for my voice. My name is Dave Grenoble, and I live at 115 South 12th Avenue in Beech Grove. I want to take this opportunity to thank the members of the Common Council of Beech Grove, the mayor, the clerk treasurer, and the city attorney for giving us a chance to speak to you about our concerns and sharing of information. The time a few of you have given to exchange emails, texts, and conversations has been appreciated by me. At times we have disagreed, but have usually been able to stay political and not personal. I do have one more question. About 2 weeks ago, I emailed you all and was inquiring about the landfill citation we received from IDEM that the mayor shared during December 2018 meeting, stating that the landfill was contaminating adjoining properties. Have we found the issue and what has been done? In closing, I have shared numbers with you about the sanitation fund since October of 2018. I've shared opinions and views, and I can only pray that this wasn't a waste of time, that you can see past an agenda and a vision and look for what's best for the community of Beech Grove that you were elected to represent. I hope that all or any of you are looking for ways to relieve the dollars used from the sewer fund to operate the city in the event that a sale is approved. As this may be the very last time you have to listen to me for 3 minutes at a council meeting, I hope you follow your beliefs on your upcoming decisions and take the we the people into consideration. Thank you, good evening, and God bless.
Harry Hamper?
City Council, Mayor. I came forward and had an interview with the mayor about a proposal for an internet radio station be added to the website. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have on it.
Can you tell us more about it, sir?
The service we could provide as a radio station, internet radio station is different than what we call terrestrial radio station. Terrestrial radio station is AM, FM radio waves, and it's limited. It has a short range of 50 to 150 miles, where internet radio station is based on the World Wide Web. So it can be heard anywhere, anytime, any place. When was the last time you saw somebody walking down the street that didn't have a cell phone? So everybody is in touch. There's connections there. Just about everybody is on the internet. And this is a move into the future for radio and for the city of Beech Grove, because they would be one of the first to have an internet radio station. An internet radio station can provide the city with a way to communicate with the residents of Beech Grove in various aspects. Each one of the individuals that was up here speaking tonight could have easily been on the radio station in either an interview or just a comment or just a notice of what they presented. It would be there on the radio, the radio station would be allowed to give everybody the opportunity to listen to a variety of music, entertainment, news, sports, weather, you name it, we can provide it. And we have that ability to provide more to the public than a standard radio station. Standard radio station like WFMS plays only country music, where an internet radio station with the city of Beech Grove, it would be WBGI. And WBGI would be a variety station playing anything. And how it works is the only thing that would be added to the website is an internet broadcaster, a tab at the top that said listen live. And you would hit that tab and it would drop down a menu and you could pick any type of music that's on that list or menu that you would want to listen to. Currently there would be one broadcast that would be whatever city desires, where it would be a live, what they used to call a DJ, and they now call them on-air talent. And it would be just like regular or terrestrial radio. And it would offer all of the elements that I mentioned, and it also would be able to do things like what we call PSAs, which are public service announcements. Say you've got some road work going on in the city. You'd like to be able to let the people of Beech Grove know about it. Well, on WBGI, the announcer, such as myself, would say, hey, this is going to be happening out there on Emerson Avenue. There's going to be down to one lane in each direction because there's road work going on at this time, between this time and that time. So PSAs like that are very important because it's a way to communicate with the city of Beech Grove, keep everybody on top of what's going on. And like I said, this is a move into the future, the radio of the future. One thing that I remember hearing about when I went to broadcast school, by the way, I have an associate's degree in radio broadcasting. I'm an experienced radio announcer. I've worked for several radio stations. One that I last worked for was out in Marshalltown, Iowa, KDAO. That was your soft rock favorites of KDAO of 95.5 of Marshalltown, Iowa. So I have the experience in radio. I know what's expected and what the people want to hear and what they would like to hear. And we have the advantage of giving them a lot more than what we call terrestrial radio. Terrestrial radio is what radio started out with, if you go all the way back to 1926. Marconi was the guy who developed radio, and it's been that long, almost 100 years around. And while I was in school, I heard many times, radio's dying, radio's dying. And I get, no, it's not. It's changing. The face of radio is changing. The face of radio from being a wave-based radio to the internet. And the internet is today. It's what's happening out there right now. So everybody would be able to hear this radio station. And it would be exclusively to the city of Beech Grove. Yes?
Would we have to pay royalties to the artists?
No, not at all. And the way we would do it is just like terrestrial radio. Terrestrial radio runs commercials on the radio station. Now, these commercials are paid for by those who want to advertise their services or products. And with WBGI, we would only accept those individuals with products and services from Beech Grove to let the people of the residents know where they can get it right here in Beech Grove. And the payment there covers everything. We are an organization that can sustain and operate itself totally. We can pay for that monthly broadcast subscription and the one that I think that would be the best one that I would suggest using is it's called a Live 365. And all they would do was we would purchase a subscription, and I would do that for the city to start out with. And it would eventually be paid for through advertisements that only show up on the radio. They would only be audio things.
Would the meetings be able to be live broadcast?
We could if you wanted to. I mean, there's no problem with that. I mean, it's a possibility, yeah.
And what other communities have you served? Are there other communities that you're involved with now? Other municipalities or other local?
I only know of a few. This actually is the first. I'm taking a step into the future by offering it to an actual city. And there's only one other city that I know of in the country that is doing this, and that's down in Florida.
And those payments in lieu of the commercials, that would be the entire cost. There would be no charge to the city.
No, there would be no charge to the city. In fact, any startup money that the city would put towards getting this set up would be completely paid for. In fact, there's a good possibility that anything that's left over, having paying all the bills, the subscription, the on-air talent, folks like myself, all that comes from the advertising. And any money left over from that, we would take and donate it to the city treasury.
And then you could work with the chamber, I guess, on events as far as news that the chamber would have. I mean, as far as broadcasting events and just special events and stuff that are going on in the city, upcoming.
Yes, all events, anything upcoming would be primary on the list of announcements through the radio station.
Would it be linked with the police, fire, and weather?
Yes.
Because I know.
We would probably have an individual, in fact, we have places on the internet where we can get the basic information and just read the basic weather, news, sports, national events, anything. We would add it to a list of the broadcast.
I know that people in the city of Beech Grove would be interested in things happening in the city, reference to the police and fire for sure.
All of that would be covered. Yes, sir.
How are you compensated?
Am I compensated? Basically, it would be through the advertisements.
So this is a new project for you here locally. I mean, this is something.
I'm starting it. I'm hoping
This
that
is a
something like
startup.
this would be the kind of project that would allow the city to have the ability to have job openings, to let other professionals involved with radio to be a part of it and add their talents to WBGI. I chose WBGI because back in 1926, they regulated all of the radio stations. If you were east of the Mississippi, you were a W station. If you were west of the Mississippi, you were a K station. So the W is for radio, and BG obviously for Beech Grove, and the I is for Indiana.
And you don't need to AM/FM, so it's going to be going. There's no such as AM/FM anymore. So 'cause
No,
it'll go-
not
right,
anymore.
right. And then because I'm public radio, everything. So you do. I mean, I love to listen to podcasts on NPR. So I mean, you could even do. I mean, it could grow to. I could see that it could grow to a lot of other entertainment type.
Yes, there's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of variety. That
of
drop-down menu that you open the moment you hit that live button at the top of the website, and it drops down that menu. You could pick, if there's a public broadcast for Beech Grove, it would be there.
Yeah, for the schools as well. Yeah.
Any other questions for Barry? Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll talk later. I mean, as far as the agreement, is this? I guess there's a contract or agreement or something that was later. You're just presenting this to us tonight.
Right now, this idea was just a proposal to bring forward to you, let you know about it, let you decide whether you think that it's worthy or not.
Barry came to visit a while back, and I wanted him to come in front of the council to talk to you about it, and then I told him that we would just take it under advisement, and I want to hear what the council has to say, and then we'll go from there.
Well, especially if wellness issues and alerts and working with the police and the fire and the education, even the local churches. So that's.
Definitely. The local churches have a huge opportunity here. Every single one of their sermons are recorded. They're on audio tape. And those that would come to us and ask us if we could play that, we would. We would take and we would play those sermons back. We would broadcast all day long on Sunday to make sure that everybody got covered.
Real quick, just is there securities that you have to go through to prevent hacking and something like that?
I've never heard of anything like that
wasn't sure.
with radio.
Okay, I don't know.
It's hard to say. I've never really delved into that. I don't think that it would be a problem.
Would be a problem, okay. Since it would be out on social media.
Right. Well, it's not really on social media. They can have it or they can use social media towards it, but
To connect to it, okay.
the only thing is this is set up exactly like what we call terrestrial radio.
Okay.
That's standard radio now.
Thank you. Interesting.
Thanks, Barry.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yep, Pam?
I think she left.
She left, okay. Anybody else that hasn't signed up? All right.
We'll go to committee reports, ABC. Ashley?
Good evening, council members. We had 2 on the docket today, and we had 1 automatic renewal for El Mariachi Mexican Restaurant on South Emerson. And then we had another one that will be continued, and there was some violations for it. It's for Night Owls, Ricky Allen Skirvin at First Avenue, and there was 2 violations for that, so we'll bring that up for our next meeting in June. The violations, there was one for a tax lien, and then the other one was for gaming violations, so that's all I have. Any questions?
Any of these violations, have they been reoccurring violations, or is this something has that establishment had issues with violations like this before?
Yes, it's actually been the 3rd violation in the last 4 years. So.
And then are they at
and
risk for
this-
losing their license because of it?
That would be up to the board. And there's 4 of us that would be the ones that would approve it.
And then the gaming part of it, this is clearly something that anybody who would own an establishment would be well aware of these
Yes.
regulations. And they should be well aware of the regulations and know what they need to do.
It's a yearly, yes, it's a yearly permit, and that permit actually has been expired for a full year. So, and it was the 2nd violation on that same permit for ideally that same permit, so. I hate seeing this, I really do, and, because these are things that can be easily fixed, so.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ashley.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ashley. You should have Greenscape Commission, compliance, and public safety. The last one is financial. Dan?
This is gonna be a very short one. In April, we paid the last payment on the skid steer of $7,892.73. The stormwater fund balance was $314,751.14. The city corporation bank account was $2,467,209.28. And the utilities, $957,623.05. We did not take out a tax anticipation warrant, so when we get our tax money in, we don't have to pay anyone back. And as always, if you have any questions, my door is always open. Thank you. Respectfully submitted, Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Thanks, Dan. We move to unfinished business, carried over from the previous meeting. RFP update, Todd Bertrand. Todd?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. My remarks will be brief as well. As you know, we've issued the RFP. We did meet in this chamber last week, April 30th, by 3 entities, Aqua Indiana, Indiana American Water, and Citizens Energy Group. About 16 representatives across those 3 enterprises showed up here. What we called a site visit. Phil Greganis was certainly an excellent steward of the knowledge here. And we're in the mode now of receiving questions from those entities, and we'll publish those to all those that pose questions, so everybody has an equal playing field by which knowledge is shared. And those questions are due May 10th, and then we'll get those responses out by May 13th, and then I do have a email update request from the appraiser, and I've yet to hear back from that, so they're still working diligently on that. With that, I will yield to your questions. if there are any. Going easy on me tonight. Dan, you got anything for me?
Your checks will be in the mail tomorrow.
You're a good sport. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
That concludes unfinished business. Under new business, we have two items. First is zoning hearing, 2019-ZON-026 on South Third, and at this time, I will defer to council.
Yes, so this is the one we're hearing tonight. We're gonna vote on it. Linda, gonna discuss the staff report and the recommendations?
Want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, members of the council. My name is Linda Albrand. I am with the Department of Metropolitan Development. We hear all the zoning cases in Marion County get filed with our office, and you're here acting as one step in that process to provide a recommendation to the Metropolitan Development Commission regarding this case. The property, 229 South Third Avenue, includes 3 parcels on Third and then 5 parcels on Second Avenue that the church owns. To give you some history, this site received a variance in 1981 to convert a civic building at the time to the church, and that was for all 3 parcels on South Third Avenue. So regardless of what happens at this hearing or this rezoning case, the variance will still be valid and the church can continue to exist under the existing variance. This petition would rezone it, because it's currently zoned residentially, a D5 district, stands for dwelling. And it would rezone it to an SU1 district, which is our religious use district. The benefit of being rezoned to a religious district rather than being under a variance is that future development on the property can happen with our staff approval, which right now it can't. The building cannot be expanded, no new buildings can be built under the current variance. It's just the building and the parking that are there. The property came to us because of a violation that was issued for a large shipping container that's on the property. My photos show that it's an orange-red color shipping container. If this property were to be rezoned, then that shipping container would have to get our approval to then be able to get a permit. Our staff would not consider a shipping container as appropriate in a predominantly residential zone, so therefore we would likely deny a request for a permit for that shipping container. And I've made the petitioner aware of that, and I believe she's understanding that the shipping container is likely not allowed to remain. But if they were to come in with a building addition or a small shed or something to store their equipment, we would likely approve it if it was appropriate in the residential area. So again, we are recommending approval because a residential district is appropriate in a religious use district is appropriate near residential. And we do have steps built in for them to get approval for appropriate development. Again, noting that a shipping container would not be considered appropriate development. But it would allow them to get a permit for something else without having to go back and get an additional variance. That is where they would stand right now. If this did not get approved, and they wanted to expand, they would have to go back for an additional variance to expand the use that's currently occurring on the property. But again, the religious use is permitted by that 81 variance, and the church can remain regardless of the outcome of this hearing. Your recommendation will go on to the Metropolitan Development Commission for their hearing the first week of June. And then it would go on to the City County Council if the recommendation is for approval. And that it's a 3-step hearing process for a rezoning case. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
My question is about the shipping container. That seems to be the issue, and we've all received emails from local residents. So how did it get there? What's it used for? And why don't they get rid of the shipping container? And then we can discuss this.
I can't answer how or when it got there. It did not receive a permit. It would not have received a permit had they come to apply for a permit. They received the violation and then I believe attempted to get a permit for it and could not.
And that resulted in this petition being filed.
So they paid a violation for having it there, so their intentions of getting rid of it to me, doesn't seem like they're very committed to it.
Well, I spoke with the petitioner last week. I let her know that it was likely not going to be approved by our office, even if the rezoning got approved. And I believe she's understanding of that and wants to make plans to get rid of it, but you would have to ask the petitioner.
Well, how about
that
if the
information.
petitioner gets rid of the container and then comes back for the rezoning? That's how I'm gonna look at it right now.
A rezoning petition in the state of Indiana has to be heard by this body within 30 days of it being filed. There's no opportunity for a continuance, the way excluded cities work in Marion County. So if you don't make a decision tonight, it goes back to the MDC without a recommendation.
But she's still, that body's still responsible for getting that shipping container.
Right now, she's under violation, and the violation still is ongoing. And if this is denied, or if our staff denies, then she would have to remove it, and it would be up to zoning violation to give her time to remove it, whether that be 30 days or 60 days, I don't know.
I'm still in the thought that if this has been this difficult to get that shipping container out of that area,
I understand your point, and we also agree that it should not be there. But we also have separated the issue of the shipping container not being appropriate, agreed, but the rezoning, we think, is an appropriate category given the historic use property.
There's a creek behind that building, and they're gonna expand over on the Second Street?
They have not submitted any plans to expand to the other side, to Second Street. They would be permitted if they could get permits. They have to be 25 feet away from the top of bank of that tributary to Beech Creek. And that would not leave much of the property developable and still meet setbacks. So what they could effectively do with that property, I don't know, but they have not submitted any plans to do anything with it. But the shipping container was located on that part of the property, which is why it was included, I believe.
My question would be, is them lots on Second Street, I think you said there was 5 of them, are any of them buildable lots?
I don't know that I could answer that. I mean, if you take out the 50 feet for the stream and then build in setbacks from the street, probably not, but I have not investigated that.
If the council votes in favor of this and they don't move the shipping container, what's the remedy?
Still in violation.
The violation that's ongoing would continue, and if it was not removed in the time set by the inspector, then it would go to court.
Do we have a date in which they were made aware that that shipping container?
I did not bring that with me.
Yeah, I don't know if
Maybe the petitioner could.
We have a approximate date, like we talking months or?
I was first made aware of the case approximately 4 months ago,
Okay.
but I don't know how long it's
So
been.
I mean, it's at least been 4 months.
But they thought this could be the corrective matter to be able to keep it, and now they've been informed that it will not work.
Council, can I interject? Within the last year, we've had 2 complaints
Yeah.
filed downtown concerning that container. Our position was it doesn't belong there, with no action from the city of Indianapolis. Also, these people do not maintain their property. We have been on them. Craig, you have been on them legally for 2 years because they won't cut their grass. Deanne Hensley cuts the grass back there. If you drive by there tonight on your way home, you'll see the tall grass and what we're talking about. Plus, they are poor stewards of picking up trash all through there. So I'm just passing that on because this is this is an occurrence that we deal with all the time. And some of you may not be aware of it, but they are just not good stewards of their property.
Is that the property on Second Street?
Second and third.
And Third?
Are there any other people that signed up to talk on this?
I'd like to hear what the public has to say.
You should give the petitioner their 15 minutes first. I hate to
Hang on,
interrupt.
Jackie.
Oh, yeah,
Petitioner should have spoken.
that's true.
Is there anyone here from the church or that represents the property? Come on up, sir.
I have not
Sir, will you go to the podium so we can hear you?
I have not been in favor
Can you
of
state
the
your name and?
Okay, I'm Marvin Stangsland, and to the mayor and council people, I have not been in favor of the container from the day it was put in there. My son from Florida had the container put in there because they wanted to store things in the container for our 50th wedding anniversary. We have actually had the property for 22 years now. It's been a church for 40 years. I heard the complaint about the trash. The biggest problem with the trash is Speedway right up on the corner that continually sell their contents. People walk through our parking lot, they walk through the areas on 7th Street, and they just drop their stuff there. I have been out of town because my daughter-in-law went into cardiac arrest and was dead for 20 minutes, and they had no one to take care of the children or my daughter-in-law. So I have been for 6 months out in Idaho taking care of my daughter-in-law and her children. That leaves, we actually closed the church down for those months because there was no one to see over the property whatsoever. And I would imagine the trash really piled up during that time. Normally, I try to go over there once, twice, or 3 times a week picking up Speedway stuff. We also had the problem of the people right across the street from us, which some of you may know, that's Skip and Helen. They died, and the house was sold. And we have people in there. Well, it's a house of ill repute is all I can say. And when their rooms are filled up, they use our parking lot, throw stuff in our parking lot from extra rooms in their cars to do whatever they're doing. I also pick up underwear, I pick up T-shirts, I pick up things, and we throw them in the garbage. We are taking care of the property a little bit better now that I am here continually. We are not a large church. I think Sunday morning and evening we had 13 people, and most of them are elderly people, including me. I have had very ill health. I have actually been brought back to life 6 times in the past 2 years. So I can work so long, and after my strength is totally gone, I have to rest a day or so before I can get back to it. I have my daughter here, which is also on the complaint maybe tonight. She has been very helpful painting the church inside and out, and she has worked today putting flowers along the sidewalk and flowers in front of the church, and we are doing our best to maintain and keep the church. With my son in the container, I told him, I said, go to the city first and check. Well, he decided, since he was only here for a week or so, that he was going to put the container there and beg forgiveness later. I think the container does not add to the city of Beech Grove. I think that it's an eyesore, and it should at least be painted. We can use the storage place because the church literally has no storage place to it. I think the container should be taken out of there, and we will move to get the container removed. Thank you.
Any remonstrators, anybody from the public want to speak on this? Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
State your name, ma'am.
My name is Jackie Hudman, and my husband and I live at 223 Churchman Avenue. I have been asked to speak for some of the neighbors who live adjacent to the property at 223 South 3rd Street. As concerned neighbors, we note that the building has been used as a church over the last few years. Our concerns are the zoning, the SU1, is not very clear in what religious uses might allow. Number 2, some property owners would like property zoned residential since it sits in a predominantly residential area. 3, the building and the outside grounds are in disrepair and the homeless have used the doorways and the shed on the property as temporary housing with the permission of the current property owner. Number 4, the cargo container removal needs a deadline for removal, instead of someone just saying it's likely it will be moved. As a concerned homeowner, I would like to see the cargo container removed as recommended in the staff report from the Department of Metropolitan Development because it is in the stream protection corridor. We are hoping you will take appropriate steps to make sure the unsightly property is cleaned up and the cargo container is removed. Thank you for hearing me and for your consideration on this matter.
Have any questions? Any other demonstrators that want to speak on this issue, or members of the public? State your name, ma'am, and your address.
My name is Thelma Collison, and I live right next door to the church. I moved there in 1966, so I've observed a lot. When I moved there, it was the Lions Club. It's been the JC's, and then Alan Hunter had it, and it's moved around a lot. He sold it to Art Fannin, and then Art, I think, sold it to the preacher present. But there has been a lot go on there, and recently it's calmed down, but in the last year or so, we've had alcoholics and all sorts of people lived on that little porch thing, summer and winter, and that little building that's in the parking lot, they've lived there, and it's been really crazy. So I just hope that it does get cleaned up and taken care of. I wish them the best because I live there. And like the minister said, there is a problem across the street from there, and it bothers all of us. So I hope they get that straightened up too. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Anybody else? Members of the public? Linda, do you have anything you want to add in response to the petitioner and the demonstrator?
No, I don't. I'd be open for more questions.
What was it zoned before went to church?
It's currently zone D5, and it's always been zone D5.
'Cause I know
But they got a variance for the special permission to use it as a church.
But I know years ago, the Beech Grove JCs built that building, so.
Correct, and I believe they had a variance prior to that. I did not include that in my history.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Jackie contacted me and I went by and looked at the location, and it is in disrepair. It's not been taken care of. The gutters are falling down. There's no handles on the doors, or no doorknobs, I mean. The shed out back is in disrepair. I would like to think that a church would be a better neighbor to the neighbors than what this place apparently has been, so I just want to say I went by and looked at it.
I'm not on the list, but
Sure.
I just want to answer a question that you guys asked.
My name is Tammy Garcia. When we first got the shipping container, we, I guess, didn't receive a violation for a little while, and then when we got the violation, I began to start calling different, first I called the number that he left, and then I went to some of the different agencies and was like, do we need to get rid of it, or what can we do? Because I think our biggest problem as a church is we just don't have much money. As you said, it's disrepair. A lot of times, some of our congregation will be kids that we pick up from Parkview. So, they're not, obviously not tithing. They're not putting money into the church. So a lot of the money that comes is out of our own pockets. So, excuse me. So, yes, we have had homeless people stay there, and we should have not had let it happen. But my dad has a problem turning people away when they don't have food or they don't have and they say, can I sleep here? We all advise him, please don't, but you know what, he has a problem with turning away homeless people, even if they're drunks. And so we've got rid of that now. I believe, hopefully, we won't have any more problems with that. As far as why did we keep it so long after we got the violation? Because I was talking to different departments, and they were saying if you make it into a permanent structure, paint it, you can probably keep it. So this is the route that I was advised to then, well, okay, so do this, well, you either need to do a variance or a zoning. So I talked to different people, even in this department. I spoke with someone who was like, well, he looked at the property, said there's trees behind it. It's not, if you paint it and make it look good, it's not bothering anybody, but you need to rezone. So the reason why we've kept it so long is because we were under the hope that if we put a foundation under it, because that's what I was being advised, and made it to the ground as a permanent, just as a permanent structure, that we would be able to keep it. And why do we want to keep it? Just because we don't have anywhere to park a ride lawnmower. We were mowing just 2 days ago. My dad left the gas can down, and someone came by and swept it up. We have to watch our tools at all times because anything that we leave out is stolen. Yes, the building is in disrepair. My dad's an elderly man. He has heart problems. I'm trying to get in and help him some. Some of the others are trying to get in and help him. So we do plan to make it look better. But at this point, I've talked with Linda, and she's like, there's no way that you're going to be able to keep it. So that's fine. But we would like to be able to get a structure where we can keep tools and things for that. So that's kind of where we're at. Yes, we're residential. We'd like to be able to operate as a church and be zoned as a church. So that's all I have to say.
Is that container worth anything as scrap? And can you actually maybe make some money off of it if somebody wants to buy that for scrap? And even if you wanted to restore it, whatever, you're going to have to meet building codes.
We paid $2,400 for it, and it was cheaper than building a garage. So that's what we were looking at.
Yeah.
It was the most economical for us, and we didn't realize that we were breaking any rules at the time. I guess my dad talked to my brother, but as he said,
sounds like
he
they
lives in
knew.
Florida.
Yeah.
Once we started getting complaints on it, then it was, what do we need to do to make this compliant? So I started talking to the different agencies, and that's kind of how we got to where we were at.
You don't own it.
I'm sorry?
You don't
Yeah,
own
you
it.
bought it outright, right?
Yeah, we bought it.
Because what you said a minute ago kind of,
Okay, I'm sorry.
it kind of
Yes,
conflicted with what I thought was going on.
we did buy it. We will, we'll list it and try to sell it. And then hopefully, if you rezone us, we can find a permanent structure that goes with what the property should be. And then,
Linda, are they precluded from building a structure on the property with the current zoning?
Yeah.
The current variance allowed the church building and the parking lot. Any expansion of those two things would require another variance or for the property to be rezoned.
Now, you already have a shed on the property. Are you not able to keep things in that shed?
we have some things on there.
It's been busted into several times.
We don't trust to keep anything of value in there.
Okay.
Do they have any more questions for Linda? All right. Well, try to think how we do this. What we do in the BZA is we just go down the line, vote yes or no for the petition. I don't think we necessarily need a motion. So why don't we start with Buddy?
Well, with all, I think this all gonna come down to this container. And what we do here today doesn't, I don't think changes a whole lot in the long run. But with that, I think there's gotta be kind of a message sent. And if to make it work out right, I'll be the first to help you. But right now, I believe that we gotta send a message, and I think at this point, I have to vote no.
I know it's been a church for a long time because I was involved when the JC sold it. and it went as a church at that time. I did not know it was not zone SU1. With the container there, it has to be removed, and they have to start taking care of the property. I think it's gonna have to come up with rezoning again, so I'm gonna have to vote no also.
I would vote no too.
I agree, I will have to vote no at this time. I feel terribly for your health issues and concerns that you have, but, you know, it sounds like your support, your base support is weak at best, and I know that's hardship for you, and you want to care and give back to people in need, but there's resources in the county and other areas that you could turn people to, and it's hard not to help someone, but, you know, I think we could help, I mean, if we could help you or any way to remedy this, but I believe that at this time I'd have to say no.
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 All right, petition's denied.
Next order of new business, 2019-zone-040, request to hear rezoning at 5230 Victory Drive, Council District 18. It's a rezoning of .523 acres from a MU1 district to a C4 classification. Tonight, council, you will only vote on if you want to hear this zoning. Want to comment, Linda?
I can explain them to them.
Yeah, explain it, please, yeah.
Property is currently zoned MU1. It's sandwiched between the two hotels out there, just south of the interstate. MU1 is a mixed-use district that is for offices and apartments only. So how this property got to have that zoning, it's unclear because it's not appropriate for where it is.
Okay.
A C4 district is a regional commercial district typical of this interchange area. I don't have a recommendation for you at this point. I will next month if you choose to hear it.
I mean, it's not disruptive, it's not in a residential area, it's just, they're just trying to get it zoned appropriately, correct?
Correct. I don't know what the intended use is, though. They did not reveal that to us. And they're not required to in a rezoning hearing.
I'll make a motion, we hear it.
I agree, I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. That will be on the June 3rd agenda. Thank you, council. Council comments. Kevin?
I don't have anything, just want to thank everybody for coming.
I have no comment.
Thank everyone for coming. Going Green in the Grove was an awesome event. Gave a lot of trees away, had excitement from the community. So we just continue to do good things and work hard to service our citizens, so thank you all.
Yeah, thank everyone for coming, and so proud of the high school kids. It's a good thing for our community.
And I'd like to thank everybody for coming also, and put it on your calendar, June 14th and 15th. Beech Grove High School, 3 o'clock on Friday, 3 o'clock on Saturday is a Indy Southeast Relay for Life. Come and join us.
I'll do the thank you for everybody being here. Sometimes as a city council member, I think beautiful day out here, and see a lot of people in here. That's pretty neat. I wanted to make a point with police and fire departments. I do believe in the future of these. I know this is a weird issue to bring up right at the end, but I'm definitely in favor of these. They get them new buildings. But why I bring it up, I'm going to just kind of go to the police department at first. A visit over there again on the range. The personnel there are fantastic. The police department's range personnel, like people like Mr. Kirstein and even Matt Hickey, who I got a chance to be involved with. And they do the best they can with their range, but they need some help. And that range for the future, it can't continue like it is. Those guys, it's amazing that the condition it is, they make it work, but it's on that, I'm gonna say a gray line just to protect us as a city. They definitely need some new things as far as building, and one of them would be a range along with their new building. And I just wanted to add that out here today. And finally, sometimes I still will say, and it's not to cause an issue, but we need more than one thing in one basket to be able to pay for these. And I hope that maybe other counselors will talk and agree that we can't put all, that we do one thing's gonna save them and get them a building. What happens if it doesn't work? They need a new building for the next 50 years. The fire department's gonna need one. In order to do that, we gotta think of other creative things in order to make us financially strong in that area. Because we put all our eggs in one basket, it doesn't work. It's not fair to the fire and police. And with that, thank you.
Thanks, Council. Saturday, May 11th is the Police Department Fallen Officer Blood Drive, 8:30 to 11:30 at the parking lot of the police station. And as Councilor Templin alluded to, we'll have a public town hall conversation on the future of the police and fire department this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Hornet Park. Talk about why the city needs to make these investments in our public safety. So I encourage the public to come. We will not discuss funding or sale of the sewer, anything like that. We're going to focus solely on the needs of the police department and the fire department. So I hope to see everybody there. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:19 p.m. Thank you very much.